right, we're gonna put the music in. Freedom! Freedom! 5, 4. Freedom! Welcome to the Rip 28 podcast. This is the Rip 28 podcast. It's a podcast where a few friends get together and we talk about a few things. Now, some of those things you might like, some of those things you might not like, but we keep on talking about them on the Rip 28 podcast. I am your super legendary host, Sly Williams, joined by a few of my good friends, my homeboy. We got your favorite coach. What's going on, LBZ?
Man, it's BZ the GOAT. Your favorite coach. Just here to kick it with my guy Sly and someone I may know just a tad bit. Let's go.
I tell you what we like to do, man. You know, me, myself, I am an athletic legend, a superstar, a great one, a greatness that's unknown to most people. So what I like to do, I like to reach out and bring on a legend. I like to reach out, bring on one of the best that we've ever seen do. I'm talking about WJ Keenan's finest, the University of South Carolina superstar, a WNBA draftee, one of the greatest that I have ever seen hold the ball, the one and only Miss Shaunzinski Gortman. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
University of South Carolina. Oh, I got a little bit of delay. Okay, my bad. How are you doing this evening?
I'm well. How are you?
Man, I am doing awesome, man. We are so honored. We're so honored, man, to have you on this show. LeBron. We all knew of you, but LeBron knew you a little bit better. And Bron said, "Hey, man, we got a chance to get Shaun on the show." I said, "Man, you better break your neck and do whatever you got to do to make sure you get Shaun on our show, man." And we're just so honored to have you here.
But she did say this. She said if you don't get her name right, she won't come back. It's not Shaunzinski. It's Shaunzinski.
Because I'm not used to being in the rare air of superstars, it causes me to make a mistake, man.
Man, you with me all the time. What you talking about? Don't act like, hey, come on. I don't like the shade that's been thrown on this podcast here today. I know Shaun was great, but hey, you know, we from Columbia High now. We don't really mix with them Raiders too much like that. But you know, I digress for the sake of the podcast world and Facebook and all these great streaming services. I digress. We'll put
the beef down for about an hour. We'll put the beef down for about an hour. We'll talk to a Raider for a little bit, man.
For a long time. I was a long time.
But people don't really know, Sly, but she's really a Brooklyn Casey Bearcat. That's what she. Let's get to the story behind it.
Let's jump into that, man. Let's jump into that. A lot of our listeners are, some of them from Columbia. You know, we worldwide, Shaun. I don't know if you know.
Tell about it, Sly.
Shaun, we worldwide. We all out there, man. We check it. If you check us out and you go and look us up, man, we are everywhere you want to be, man. We're the Rip 28 podcast, man. We're out there, a little bit of everywhere. Hey, Bron, where can the people check us out when they want to check us out, bro? How can they get in touch
listen, with us? We on YouTube. We on Facebook. We on Podbean. We on Podbay. We on Twitter. We on Instagram. Anchor. Anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find the Rip 28 podcast, man. So there's no reason for you not to like, subscribe, and share this, man. It's everywhere. Everywhere you want to be, that's where we are.
Bron, I was checking them numbers, Bron. You know, I like to check the analytics and everything like that, man.
Yes, sir.
We have 5 people in Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, Shaun. Who you know in Zimbabwe,
Shaun?
Anybody, but that's awesome.
We worldwide up in this thing. We got fans all over. I think they came from Ivory. Ivory brought brought them 5 Zimbabwe people in when we had
You
our
know,
show.
yeah, we gotta thank Irish. Shout out to Goody, Mr. 803 with the tattoos. We see you.
For everybody with your tattooing needs, make sure you check out Goody, Mr. Goody 803.
Absolute Ink.
Absolute Ink. He will take care of you. Get your tattoos, get you tatted up, looking
Get
all
tatted
good.
up.
Looking all good. But here we go though. Shaun, man, we want to dig into your background a little bit. For the people not from Columbia who don't really know the legend. When I was first kind of introduced to Shaun, she, like I said, she played at our rival high school, Keenan High School, and there was a little freshman out there just balling. And I wondered, what is this freshman doing out here balling against everybody, leading Keenan to a state championship game? So we're in the state championship game, and I saw this freshman out here playing. I was like, wow, who is that? Little do we know, we find out this is a future superstar. So how did your basketball career kind of take off? How did everything get started for you?
My basketball career started kind of, I'll go back to what LeBron said. I grew up in Casey, South Carolina, so I never forget where I come from. I spent most of my life there. My mom was a gym director at Spires Recreation Center, and it was a part of my daily life. Every day, whether we were in school or not, we just had to be in the gym, at the gym. My mom was one of those, we weren't allowed to stay home by ourselves. So, from sun up to sundown, after school, before school, we were in the gym. And so I just kind of grew to love for the game just by being around it all the time. And, being around great people that also played the game, older heads like Rocky Midnight, Phyllis Midnight. Those are the people, my mom, Jennifer Stroman.
Jen, shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Jennifer Stroman. That's my aunt. These are the people that taught me the game the right way. And, just being around them on a consistent basis at Spires Gym is kind of how my love for the game grew.
It's funny you mentioned your mom. It seems like everybody in West Columbia, that Casey area, whatever, seems like all of them know your mom. It's like she's a popular figure out there from Spires, man. That's kind of amazing.
Listen,
amazing. So now,
it's Miss Betty and Dog West out there together. You know them. If you don't know nobody from KC, West Columbia, South Carolina, boy, Miss Betty stay ready, and Dog West. That's a guarantee. Am I wrong, Shaun? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I have to give it to you. Y'all say I'm the legend, but my mom really is the legend.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Ain't no doubt. I love Miss Betty. Miss Betty tell it like it is. She don't sugarcoat it for nobody.
Always.
Shout out Miss Betty out there vacationing and doing her thing. But yeah, Miss Betty, she stay ready. She stay ready. But check this out, Shaun. Tell us how hard Miss Betty used to go on you, because I seen her coach. And I know if she goes this hard on other people's kids, I can just imagine how it was with you, your brother, and your sister. I can only imagine.
She was pretty tough on all of us. I think I probably got it the worst out of all of us. But practice, there wasn't a thing where I was ever tired. I have days I come in the gym and I'm thinking I'm giving 110%, and I'm running 20. I don't know the reason why, but I'm crying around the gym, and she tells me keep going. She was that coach. It got at one point, her and Jen, my Aunt Jen was a perfect match because, my mom handled everybody else and Jen coached me. That's how tough it was. But, I'm grateful for it. It taught me a whole lot in the process.
No doubt.
Okay. Now you kind of matriculated over to WJ Keenan over there down Two Notch Road. Now, one thing about playing at Keenan, you talk about your mom and the influence your mom was. You also got to play for another legend over at Keenan, Coach Van. Now, how was that experience meeting up with Coach Van playing over there at Keenan under another legend?
That it was an awesome experience. And I tell people all the time, you don't realize the sacrifices people make for you, along the way. But as you grow and you get older, and for myself, as I step into the same role, I realize that I look back and, there were a lot of sacrifices that she made, not only for me, but, for her players in general. She loved us. She cared about us. She taught us life experiences. She taught us the game. She was tough too. But at the end of the day, when it came to our dreams and goals, she made sure she was there and that, she did everything possible to help us achieve our goals.
Okay.
Speaking, go ahead, Sly.
No, go ahead. You got it, bro.
Speaking of that, Shaun, what are some of the differences? I know you were great, and I know it just didn't happen overnight. You put a lot of work and hard work and dedication into it. What are some of the differences you see now that you are, like you said, a head coach now? Also, shout out to the Fairfield Central Griffin. She's the head coach there for the women's basketball team also. So what are some of the differences that you see now as you're a coach as opposed to when you were a player?
I think this is a different era, where social media is prevalent. So I think, looking back, I don't think it was as easy to be recognized back then. So I think, we spent a whole lot more time in the gym. We had to go to a whole lot more camps, and people actually had to put your name out there. Whereas now you can make highlight tapes, you can, create reels and pretty much put yourself out there, and I think, you had more old school coaches, and that gives you a different mindset. It puts you in a different mindset. I think the biggest difference now is mindset, the mindset of the kids, and they just don't know how hard it was back then to make it to, be successful or to achieve your goals.
That's what I'm talking about.
Now,
And
let
I
me
think
ask you a question. You talk about getting the recognition and getting your name out there. And I mentioned earlier how Keenan went to that state championship your freshman year. When did your name kind of get on the scene where people said, okay, well, people outside of Columbia said, okay, well, she's pretty good. When did that start to happen for you?
I would say, I think when I made the move from Casey to Keenan, when I was growing up in Casey, one of the main reasons that we transitioned to the other side of town was, when I played middle school, there was a point where they banned me. 7th grade, I played for the middle school, and then the very next year, they said that I was banned from middle school. So I actually moved to the high school instead. But I only played I only played JV because in the process we were working on moving. But once we made that move, I think I was already out there, but that was when the invites, especially after my 9th grade year, the invites, the Nike camp, and back then they didn't have these showcases. They had Nike Camp. So Nike Camp was the big thing that you wanted to get through. Blue Star, all of those, that was when I started to receive the invites to go to those places.
Okay. Now, how was it, coming from Columbia and you're going to that Nike camp and you're playing against some of the best people? Who are some of the ones that you saw, if you remember, who are some of the ones you saw that first time you went to that Nike camp? Who were some of the players you saw out there?
I mean, I saw a lot of players. I can remember, the Swin Cashes, Swin Cash, the Asia Jones, Brandon McCain, Michelle Snow, Tamara Moore, a lot of them today, we're really good friends. They all played in the league. Those are just a few that I remember off the top of my head, but the list is big.
Speaking of a list, you were the start or a part of the start of a long list of female superstars in basketball at Keenan. What y'all doing over there? What y'all putting in that water over there? Now the latest one is Miss Malaysia Fulwiley. What y'all putting over there? Because I need to sprinkle a little bit in a place I won't say the name, but I need to sprinkle a little bit of that dust.
That's great. I can't say it's anything special, it's just, a group of hardworking young ladies, and it's just a powerhouse. You have great coaches, you have people that's knowledgeable of the game, you get good results, and you great athletes.
All right. Well, now, when you went to these Nike camps, I guess, as a youngster coming in that camp, I guess you had to feel a little bit nervous. Or did you feel any nervousness coming there playing, or were you ready for it when you went?
I mean, I was ready, but there's always nerves because, it's hundreds, thousands of people or kids at this camp. But, once the ball goes up, we're all doing the same thing. The nerves go out the window and you just do what you do. My job or my focus was to be the best that I can be at that time. And I can say that I did well at that.
Okay. Now, we asked you about some of those national players you saw when you went to these camps. Now, we have to know locally. We got to know locally, because who were some of those players around the state of South Carolina that just gave you the headache? Or who were the teams that you look forward to playing? Who are the teams you look forward to playing?
Well, I say Columbia High, most definitely.
Well, I'm gonna pause you right there for 1 second. I'm gonna pause you for 1 second, because I don't really think that y'all played against Columbia High. Y'all showed up, but we kind of just ran through.
Don't do that. But most definitely, they always had a powerhouse. There were some great players: Teresa Jeter, Melanie Murray, Melanie. I can't remember
Davis.
I remember Nikki Jett. She might have been my last year, if I can remember correctly.
Nikki,
she was your junior year.
Yeah,
okay.
She was a freshman our junior year.
She was a freshman junior year.
And we all played on the same AAU team, so we were all familiar.
That's unfair.
That ain't even fair.
No, not the same team, the same organization.
Oh,
still ain't fair.
But
all that you just named. Come on, man, that ain't fair. Y'all will beat a lot of boys teams. Shoot,
of course,
with that you treat.
But that's what we did. And that, what, going back, that's another difference. We played boys all the time. Boys was the challenge. We got in the gym, didn't care if you were a boy, didn't care if you were the best boy, but we were up for the challenge. So right. I think that helped grow our game a whole lot too.
I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you a story of when because I knew you from afar. I just never saw you play close up or something. But it's something that jumped out in my mind that let me know that you were a real baller. And this had to be probably, I think, the summer of your 10th grade year. Maybe the summer going to definitely some of your 10th grade year. I was playing at Greenview Park. And it was like a Saturday, and we was out there just bullshitting around at Greenview, and Greenview had a 13 and under AAU boys team playing. I think it was 13 and under or something like that. And it was the team, they had Buddy on that team. I want to say they had Zimmerman. I think Zimmerman, I'm not sure who else was on that squad they had. But they were out there and they were playing your AAU team. And they was running those girls up and down the court. I think you guys were probably a year, maybe 2 years older than them. And they were running the girls up and down the court. But you hadn't showed up. And then next thing you know, you showed up. And once you showed up and got on the court, you got out there, and I swear you scored about 10 straight. And they was just lost. They was confused. Poor Buddy. And Buddy is one of the greatest players I ever seen play. I will give Buddy his props until the day he died. Buddy, one of the greatest players I've seen play in the Columbia, period. But you got out there and his young behind, you just ran circles in that little tight behind Greenview gym with them plastic floors. Just ran circles around him. And I just thought that was the most hilarious thing I ever saw in my whole life, man.
Hey, she better not do it now.
Yeah.
You do it now, boy. Hey, we don't take y'all ain't beating us no more. We sick of it. I get out there on the court, women, they not beating us, man. You do that nowadays, Shaun. That ain't that man. Look, I'm scared to play against a female in basketball. I don't want my emotions to get too high.
Well, you know, it's funny you talk about emotions getting out. Well, it's not funny. It's serious. You talk about emotions getting high, man. Brian, what happened? We got something in the news, man. Brian, what happened about a week or so ago, man?
Man, it was supposed to be two friends. A young lady, she's 21 years old. And it was a gentleman, a young man, he's 33. And they, from what the article said, they had been friends for a while, been playing basketball, going to the park. And you know, they usually play 2-on-2 or play whoever's at the park. And this day they played 1-on-1, and the young lady beat the gentleman, and he ended up gunning her down, man, like really overkilling, like unloading his whole clip on her. And her mom was wondering, you know, what could have went so wrong between two friends over a basketball game. So that's why, you know, it's sad to say, you know, rest in peace to the young lady, and we send our condolences from the Rip 28 podcast to her family, man, because you know, back in the day, like Shaun said, we grew up playing against girls. They grew up beating on us. Some beat us, some didn't. I remember playing Tree G at King Park. And I beat the first time, Valley Park. Valley Park. And she went and got her daddy. And her daddy came out there and coached her, and she beat my butt. I never thought to do anything like that, man. It was just like, hey, she was better than me that game. I need to come back and play her. Shout out to Tree G. I owe you one, and we need to go ahead and settle the score.
The greatest basketball player, Columbia.
Shout out to Tito Helper in the comment in the section saying Shaunzinski is a hoopology legend.
Appreciate that.
Shout out to Tito and Pooh over there. Hey, Pooh, as a matter of fact, should be coming out. I don't know if this might be a secret. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'm gonna
don't say it.
They got the Gamecocks got a Under Armour commercial or something coming out, and Pooh is doing the narrating on the commercial.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Big Brother Pooh.
Yeah, shout out to Pooh. But yeah, man, we're talking about the fragile male ego, man. You know, we're all athletes, you know, former college athletes, and you know, we like to win, but I don't think our ego has ever been that fragile, man. You know, have you dealt with some fragile male ego in your lifetime, you know, playing ball and stuff like that?
I can't recall anything. Like I said, that situation is very unfortunate. And again, my condolences to her family. Back in my day, like LeBron said, it was just all competition. It was fun and games. You know, I'm pretty sure the fellas got mad when we beat them. But at the end of the day, you know, just to think or take someone's life over that, I don't think that was an option or in our thought process. But again, you know, youth sports have become so competitive. And, you know, I think with the whole social media, you know, people's egos, like you said, gets involved, and, you know, it becomes unbearable, especially for young men. And, you know, just how we promote it, you know, these days when a girl beats you, it's just like, oh, you got beat by, you know, and just the taunting, you know, I think it can really, you know, bother somebody's mental health. You know, it's not fun and games anymore. You know, people are taking this really, really serious. Whether it's business, whether it's making bets on, I don't know, maybe they had a bet going on. I don't know, but you just never know the seriousness of the situation. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Shaun. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
Check this out. You say mental, work on your mental, but what was different about us? We played against girls, and I've been, like I said, Tree beat me 1-on-1. I know we have a different mental makeup, but what's so different?
Check this, Brian. Check this. Tito just put in the comments, man. Social media is a gift and a curse, man. And I think that has so much to do with it, man. You know, kids are a lot more fragile now, man. They're a lot more, nobody's tough.
There you go. You go.
It's a lot, excuse the French, but it's a lot of sissies out there, man. You know, I'm old. I can say sissies. There's a lot of sissies out there, man. And And you know that mental toughness isn't really there. And then with social media amplifying everything, if you get beat by somebody, somebody's gonna go and post it, and then you're gonna have all these comments and likes from a bunch of people that you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of people you don't know, you don't care about. And so, you know, it's just the fragile male ego, man. It's social media, a gift and a curse.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, that's well, you just said that, like, you know, back then, like I said, that was normal. So I'll just put it out. I'm not gonna say the team. This past weekend, you know, we have this fall league going on, and we have the girls playing against the boys. Well, my team was playing against the boys, and I remember the coach saying, "Man, we're not doing this no more because we playing girls." And I'm just like, okay, you know. So he actually had a problem with it, but at the end of the day, we ended up winning the game. And so
That was the problem.
That's the problem.
There
no,
lies the
well,
problem, Shaun.
I think he was saying that because he thought the game, like, oh, these girls, boys not supposed to play girls, or boys are gonna be better than girls, you know. So I think that was the way I took it at the time. But then we won the game. You know, he came back and he was like, you know, your team's really good or whatever. But I was just looking at it that way. That's just the thought process of a lot of people these days. Not just the kids, is the coaches as well. And so it trickles down, and it goes back to, you know, taking it back, like, it's just not normal these days. People don't expect that, and it's not to help girls develop. You know, back in the day, even LeBron, if I played you, you like, okay, I helped you get there. I have so many males be like, you remember when we played blah blah blah,
I
Travis
did.
Mill, Travis.
Yeah, shout out to Shaq the Barber.
Yep. We played so many games, but that helped me grow as a player. And that's the same way that you guys looked at it back then, but it's not looked at the same. Looked at in that way today. So I think that's one of the biggest differences.
Think about this, Shaun. Remember when I was coaching AAU and I had the pretty good little team and you had a good team and we sparred against each other. We went half court. We worked on our press because we were going to I think we were going to the same tournament down in Georgia somewhere, Augusta. That's when you had Jordan them on the younger team.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we played y'all older team. But anyway, that was good for both of us because it made us learn to play the finesse game. So if they're calling charges or they're calling it close, now we know from playing with the girls that, you know, excuse me, we could change up our style. So I think that helped us just as much as it helped y'all.
Correct. Yeah. And you know, that was what it was about. You know, I think we got to get back to that, you know, helping each other, not just looking at it one-sided and, hey, the boys are supposed to be better. Yeah, they're supposed to. And I tell my kids all the time, they're supposed to be more athletic. They jump higher. So use this so to make yourself better. You have to think a little more. You have to outsmart them, you know, because you're not going to be more athletic.
Hmm. That's interesting, man. You know it. I'm a hold that thought right there because I see LeBron change his name to Mr. WNBA, man. We're gonna reach into that one. We're gonna reach into that one a little bit later as we get more into Shaun's journey. Now, let's go back. Let's go back to your journey. Let's go back to your journey, Shaun. We talked about how now you're at Keenan. You know, you're on that national level. People are knowing your name. They're filling up the gym to come and watch you play now. And it comes time you have to make a decision. You know where you're gonna go to the next level. And you did something at a time that was kind of shocking. You decided to stay home and go to the world's greatest university ever. What led to that? What led to that decision making? You decided to stay home and go to South Carolina.
You know, the first thing was, you know, I wanted to go to a program where I could make a difference. I changed the culture. The second thing was, you know, my family. That was very important to me. You know, I wanted them to be able to see me play, to support me, and in all essence, my grandmother, you know, she's passed away now, but she could never drive. So I know that if I went somewhere far away, it would be limited on the times that she would be able to see me play. So ultimately, I wanted to, you know, stay close to home, to have all the support that I needed from my family and friends.
Yeah, and that was interesting, man. That you chose to stay home, man. You know, I'm a lifelong Gamecock fan. You know, I went to college and played in Kentucky, but I ended up transferring back home to USC, and it was fun just to see, you know, see somebody from the crib playing and stepping up and making you know, becoming dominant. You know, becoming dominant and leading. Because I forget the coach's name. I don't know, was it Wilson? I don't remember your coach's name, but it seemed like all she did was go and recruit girls from Europe, tall white girls from Czechoslovakia or something like that, man. It seemed like that's all she got on the team. But to have you there, and then when Teresa transferred back home, and to see Mel come out of junior college and come to USC, you know, it was fun for me, because I remember going to the USC girls games, and you could flash your student ID and walk in. But you know, when you guys started changing the culture a little bit, started winning, you know, it kind of changed. And I remember that when y'all played Tennessee, and how it was sold out when y'all played Tennessee, or some of those games when the soldiers from Fort Jackson would come.
Of course, yeah.
And they would be in the audience, man. It was a real. I love the foundation that y'all set for Don and everything that they have going over there, man. That foundation. Now, going to USC, what type of culture shock or shock was it stepping up into the college level? You know, you're a big time star in high school. Now you back to being a little freshman over here in college. What type of change was that for you?
I think just making the adjustment from one level to the next, you know, the responsibility of being a student athlete. You basically, you know, being on your own, having no one to tell you when, what, and where to do or how to do things. I think that was the biggest adjustment for me. On the court, you know, just being looked at as the freshman. Other than that, I don't really feel like there was much difference on the court. I just played my game, and I let the game come to me, and I did pretty well.
I'll say it for you, Shaun. Ballers gonna ball, Sly.
Ballers
gonna ball. Ballers gonna ball. Will you put me in any situation? Ballers gonna ball. Say it, Shaun. Shoot, don't stop being humble. Sometimes be like Sly. Sly put it out there.
Sly
let you know how good he is. You ain't got to tell him. He'll let you know how good he was. And the older he get, the better he was.
The better I get. The better I get. I'm telling you, man.
Oh man, but Shaun, going back to your college years, what was it like putting South Carolina on the map, being that start? How does it feel now when you see the success of the program that you helped start and create and give a little foundation to?
You know, I think it's a great feeling. You know, for a while, like I said, before I went to USC, I just add, I never really thought of going to USC, you know. So just to walk in those doors and to, you know, see the change and see people there to come watch you, come watch your team play. Then the dynamic,
South Carolina superstar.
we didn't win very much, but my last 2 years, that was when the game really changed for us. You know, so just being a part of the success, or, you know, building to helping them build and going to the success that they're in now. You know, it's a great feeling. You know, you hear people and they go back and like, hey, I remember when you went there. Yeah, but to watch, you know, the success of Dawn Staley and the girls now, you know, that's awesome. You know, just to see the program change overall, you know.
That's what's up.
Got a lot of game as now. Back in the day, you didn't hear that a whole lot.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, shout out to Shauna Cobb, one of our unofficial members on the Rip 28 podcast. She said, shout out to Shaun. Y'all were double Dutch teammates on the force together.
Yes, indeed. Hey, Shauna.
Yeah. See, we just reuniting, folks. Sly, we just reuniting, folks. Sly, we doing all on this podcast, man.
You know what? Shout out.
Right? Yeah, I know I double Dutch, right?
Did not know that.
Well, I knew that. I knew you did.
Well, let me just, I didn't double Dutch. I turned the ropes.
Oh.
Well, you was on the force with Miss Joy.
Hey, shout out to Miss Joy. I think they named a road or something over there in West Columbia after, I think so, if I'm not mistaken.
Lexington. Yeah, that's my brother's godmother also.
Okay.
Joy.
Okay. Miss Joy, the great Miss Joy, man. I tell you what, Shaun, I wish I could get paid some of this money that these kids getting paid now.
Well, yeah. Now this is interesting. This is interesting. Your college journey. You know, like I say, you were a local star in high school, and you stayed in Columbia, so your star was shining bright. Now imagine, I think you talk to your mama. You were born about 20 years too early.
It all changed.
Yeah, you know, because like right now in the news going on now, everybody has the NIL deals, the name, image, and likeness deals out there where college players can actually make money off of their name, image, and likeness. And the University of South Carolina, Dawn Staley, she's just signed every single one of their players to a $25,000 NIL deal. And now what that means, they've signed with the agency or whatever, and that agency will pay them a salary of $25,000, a base salary to start off. Now, let's just say if Aaliyah Boston wants to go and get LeBron Chicken and Waffles to get her as an advertiser, as a spokesman, she'll still get that money also. That's just money on the top. And what this agency that they signed to, they're supposed to go out and try to find that player more deals so that player can make more and more money. Now, for you, we ain't get that. Ain't nobody got that opportunity.
Yeah, looking back, you know, with the athlete being a product, you know, I understand, you know, I guess the argument at first was, you know, that we get free scholarships, but, you know, I think it's well deserved. You work for it. I mean, it's your name out there. So why not, you know, everybody else is making money off your name. So why should you make money off your name? It's you. You're the product. So, you know, I think it's a great thing, you know, as long as it stays maintained and under control. I think they deserve it. And what most people don't know, or what they don't realize, is the sacrifices that you make as an athlete. It's far beyond being just a student. You know, the demands are greater, and also, you know, the years, or the beatings you're putting on your bodies. You know, when we get a little bit older, you know, we got 80-year-old knees, you know. I mean, that's not like the average person. So I think it's well deserved. I think athletes deserve it, and they should be able to compensate off of their hard work.
I'm glad you said that. You know, you talk about the differences between being a regular student and being an athlete. You know, a lot of people don't understand. They say, "Oh, you get this full scholarship, so just be happy with that." But you know, you understand, man. You got to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning for 5:30 weight training. You know, got to be at breakfast at 7, and you got to, you know, I don't know about basketball, but football, we had to take all our classes, you know, before 12 o'clock if possible. You know? So you got to get everything fit in before 12 or before 1. Soon as you get out of class at 1, you need to head on over to the stadium or to the practice field. Get ready to practice. Now you at practice to 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, you go in, and then you go and get ready to go and eat. You eat it.
And study hall.
Study hall at 6.
And you might have a film session. Probably got a film session after study hall.
You know,
it's a film session, then study hall. And they forget that the athletes, they have a social life.
Mm-mm.
You wanna be able to go eat pizza. You want to go bowling.
With
You
what
wanna
money?
go catch 'em. Yeah, that's what I'm
With
saying.
what money?
Yeah, because that $20 my mama then was sending up there, that was gold. That was in the gas tank. You know. So yeah, I think it is well deserved, man. Because you look at it, I think they were saying just college football alone is a $4 to $5 billion a year industry.
Mm-hmm.
And you telling me just a scholarship it suffice for the people that's making the money?
Exactly.
Nah, come on, man. Be for real.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, and then, even with the scholarship, those athletes are still bringing more money into your school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
It's
And recognition.
it's
You think people ain't going to South Carolina because of the women's basketball team?
of course,
You don't think people go to Georgia just for the football atmosphere? So they're
and
bringing more notoriety, man. And I just feel like they ought to be rightfully compensated. Should we make them millionaires? No. But should they be compensated something? Yes,
yes,
because you can't have a job. It's impossible. You'll run yourself crazy.
and you know what's the crazy thing? You know, you want to compare a regular student to an athlete. If you go to college and you're on an academic scholarship because you're good at math. So you got a scholarship because you're a good math person. Well, what you can do as being a smart math guy, you can go and tutor somebody. You can tutor somebody, you can charge them $50 an hour to tutor, and you can put all that money and put it in your pocket. But if I'm the best point guard in the nation and I want to have a one-on-one camp and teach somebody how to be a point guard back in the day, I couldn't do that. I couldn't have private lessons for something like that. So
right.
I'm glad that the kids are getting their money, man. It's well deserved. And here's the thing: a lot of people don't know. The NCAA could have avoided all of this. They could have avoided because it's gonna be a clusterfuck these next couple of years because you're gonna have colleges just literally just paying kids just to come there, and they're gonna disguise it under name, image, and likeness, money. But a couple of years ago, one of the O'Bannon boys from UCLA sued because his name,
Ed O'Bannon.
yeah, Ed O'Bannon, because he was on that the NCAA basketball game and he wasn't getting any money. Well, the NCAA, when they signed that contract for the BCS College Football Championship, they signed that contract. It was a $2 billion contract for the next 7 years or something like that. So that was $2 billion just on top of the money that they was already getting, that everybody was getting. That was $2 billion on top of that. And what would have happened if the NCAA would have said, hey, we're going to give every scholarship athlete $500 a month? You would have never heard, nobody would have never said a peep.
Yep.
Nobody would have never said a peep.
You would have never heard of the NIL.
Mm-hmm. So
Because Jalen Rose said it on the Fab Five. He was like, man, how you think it feel going out there leading your team, this big university, to the national championship, but you can't even go buy yourself a pizza after the cafeteria closed?
Yeah, that was terrible. That was terrible.
Yeah, that was with the Ed. They was talking about Uncle Ed, what they call him, Uncle Ed, which was Ed Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was terrible for me because that was one, being up there in Kentucky. I'm 6 hours away from home. You know what I'm saying? That money runs short at the end of the month. I'm over here. Ooh.
Yeah, I think when I played, we got 2 checks. We got a check of $900 every semester. So first semester and second semester. So you got that basically.
Man, that ain't that. Man, please, all that money they make, and you talking about $1,800, and they pouring it in Saturday and Sunday, Saturday and Wednesday, every 3 days a week. Man, come on, man.
1 day off.
1 day off, and you
Days.
telling me that's it?
That's it.
You crazy.
Well, check this. We gonna fast forward a little bit. Now you playing college ball. everything's going in, and like you said, those last 2 years, a lot of stuff started to change at USC. You started to get on the winning side of things, and your influence helped out a lot because I'm gonna be honest, you probably one of the first women that I can remember, actual, superstars in Columbia who decided to stay home. And you kind of changed that. You changed that way of thinking because I know Teresa ended up transferring back home after her sophomore year, and Mel stayed, and then I forget the young lady. I think that was a couple of years down the road. The young lady from what's the school, LeBron? What's the school we played? They only had one end zone.
Melanie.
Bishopville.
Bishopville.
Oh, Bishopville.
Demetrius
Demetrius
Adams.
Adams. Yeah.
Yeah, she a little bit after you though.
Yeah, Demetrius. It was Melanie Johnson. She was from Blackville, Hilton. Is it Blackville?
I think so. Yep.
And it was Latasha Cook had a brief stint at USC. She was from Orangeburg.
Orangeburg, yeah, I remember little Tasha, little point guard. Melanie Murray went there too, but she had health issues. That's why she didn't get to play.
Yeah.
So Shaun, you made it cool though, Shaun. You made it.
Thank you.
Mel, y'all made it cool.
Made it cool to stay home. Now check this. Now, as you start to get a little bit better, the team starts to get a little bit better. Now, the WNBA is started in 1996. It started before you went to college, but now that WNBA is kind of lurking on the horizon. You can kind of see it over the edge. How did that process go? Did you get letters from agents and stuff advising you? How does that process go? Getting ready as your senior year and the end of your senior year.
Actually, I don't remember how that unfolded. I just know, like back then, you didn't get the agent until after you were drafted. Well, I didn't get an agent until after I was drafted. The process, I just remember. Honestly, I can't even tell you how the process went. I just remember.
Dog, Shaun. Don't show your age. Don't show your age on here, Shaun.
No, I mean, like, leading up to that point. I just remember, I don't remember any letters coming in or them writing. I remember when it got closer to the draft, my coach calling me in and say, hey, the WNBA draft is coming up. And I've heard from quite a few people, but it was never in depth. Like, hey, this team is calling for you. And at that time, I don't even think the process worked like that. So leading up to that, I don't know. I just know the last couple weeks, right before the draft, that was when I started receiving a bunch of calls. Hey, this is what's going to happen. Don't know what round. You're invited to Newark, New Jersey. And the only thing is I had to be there. You're one of the top people or one of the top people expected to go in the draft. So you need to be in Newark, not Newark, New Jersey. What is it called? Secaucus, New Jersey. On blah 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 date. And then the details came. They flew us there, and that was it. It wasn't a long process. It wasn't like, hey, you getting letters from this team, blah blah blah. It wasn't any of that back then.
Okay. And now you ended up being drafted. You drafted number 9. Were you up there with your family during the draft, or was it just you? Who was with you?
It was my family. My mom and my dad.
Okay. And now you get drafted number 9. Now where do you go?
I was to the Charlotte Sting,
Mm-hmm.
and there was an immediate trade to Minnesota.
Okay. Now let me ask you a question. Now, I actually, my first time ever going to Minnesota was this year. I went to Minnesota to watch the national championship game, and you hear some of the stories. I went and took a tour of Prince, Paisley Park, and it said how Paisley Park partied with the Minnesota Lynx after
Mhm.
they won their WNBA title. Did you ever have any Prince sightings at your game? Or you ever ran into Prince when you were in Minnesota?
No, I never. We rode past his estate, but I never ran into Prince while I was in Minnesota. Never saw him.
Okay. Now, what was the WNBA like? What was that experience like?
It was a great family atmosphere. It was a sisterhood. Still is a sisterhood. You know, just a lot of women that embrace what we do. It was all love, no, not a whole lot of animosity. Just the experience alone, meeting new people, the travel, the experience, the cultures, that it was great. It was one of my I say to this day, that was the life. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Just doing what you love, having the freedom, doing what you love, and making money doing it, that was an awesome experience.
Okay. And
Did you
now,
also play overseas, Shaun?
yeah, that's what jump into that. Let's talk about that. Because a lot of the WNBA players, since it's only like a 3-month season, a lot of WNBA players they get a chance to go overseas. Now, what was that like for you? Where did you go? How many places have you been overseas?
The first place I played was Turkey. And then I played in Israel for 3 years. And then I went to Spain. And Spain was kind of on the border, so it's like we had games in France as well. It was on the border.
Which one was your favorite? Which one you think was your favorite?
Israel,
Okay,
the
I
holy.
I remember now. I don't want LeBron to call me a lightweight stalker, but I remember you posted a picture or something. I think you were like on a rooftop. This was a long time ago because I was going back on your Instagram. You posted a picture like on a rooftop, and it was in the background. You had the background of Israel. It was just really nice. I thought that was really nice because I've never been to Israel. I've been to Spain, been a couple places in Europe. Never been to Israel though.
It's a place. I think everybody needs to, if you can, visit it at least once. It was my home away from home. That was the place that I didn't get homesick. I miss my family, but I wasn't homesick. I had a great time.
Now, how did you like overcome? Was it like any major language barriers and stuff? How did you overcome all of that?
Well, you had people that would or teammates that would translate, and if you really needed a translator, you could get one. But I'll say in most of those countries, you had people that spoke English, or say like if our coach didn't speak, like in Turkey, the coach didn't really speak English, so you would have the players, they would be able to translate what he said. Now, whether they translated exactly what he said, we don't know. But yeah,
We don't either.
Was it like that? Was it like that scene on Love and Basketball where the coach had the 5-minute speech and then the translators that said, "Just get you the ball."
Sometimes.
move, break the triangle and give it to Shaun. Shaunzinski.
That's exactly how it sounds too.
I'm telling you, I ain't never heard it, but I just use my imagination.
Man, that's pretty cool, man. And playing overseas, getting meeting those new people, getting the new culture. Like we talked to Opie. I gotta stop calling this man Opie. Opie a grown man. I gotta stop saying Opie. Opie, that's my little brother right there, man. I gotta stop saying that. But we had Opie on the show a while ago. Brian Matthew. We had Brian Matthew on the show a while ago, and Brian talked about his overseas experience and meeting people overseas that he still has contact with to this day. You still are friendly with the people in Israel or Turkey or Spain? You still have your contacts over there?
Yeah, we're still, most of them I see on Facebook. We still communicate through Facebook, happy birthday, events. So yeah. You know, those are the relationships that you create, and a lot of them, you know, you have for life, you know. And we're always good to see people growing and changing and seeing, you know, even though they on the other side of the world, just to see what they're doing in their everyday lives and the accomplishments that they're having. So yeah, but you know, just thankful for those relationships and those people that I met along the way.
Now let me ask you a question. Now, you said something about homesickness. You said you know you wasn't as homesick in Israel. You know how did you deal with that? Because you know back 20 years ago, 15 years ago, you had to get a calling card to call home. You know it costs to make
Man,
it's a lot of money to call home.
man, I wasted so much money on cards. Like I want to say, I would say you would buy the calling card would cost $20 and it might last 10 minutes. So all you hear is the voice on the other end saying, "You have 1 minute left." I'm like,
That's it.
you know, stores closed. You're trying to find, you know, stores that are open so you can go talk to your family. But I would say by my second year, they had something called Varnish, voice over IP. So I actually had a physical phone that was hooked to my computer, where I could actually call home. You would pay a month and it was unlimited. So that was how I got by, you know, but that first year was rough. Them calling cards, spent so much money.
Yeah, buddy. Don't talk about that.
How long did you usually stay over there? How long did you stay overseas?
About 8 months, 8 to 9 months, from September until about March or April.
Ooh,
wow. So you pretty much was over there more than you were here, man.
Yeah, in fact, you know, most people don't know it's really year round. So when you're playing in the WNBA and you're playing overseas as well. So the WNBA usually starts around March, April. It ends August or September. Then overseas is from September until like around April. So it's really you maybe like during that time, I probably spent about a week or two home a year.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Wow, that's tough.
It's funny you mentioned that because in the WNBA they kind of changing the rules a little bit. They want to kind of force players. They're going to start. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're going to start fining WNBA players if they don't make it back in time. They gonna fine them or suspend them or something like that if they don't make it back in time. But
Really?
Yeah, that's something they're gonna do this upcoming season.
I haven't heard that, but I mean, I don't understand that because I mean, well, I do know now they made more than we made when I first started out. Probably about 2-3 times of what we made back then, but it's still, you know, it's a yearly salary. You know, I mean, it's not you're not a millionaire or anything. So most of those people, you know, what they make in the WNBA doesn't compare to what they make overseas, especially those people that play in Russian. They're millionaires in Russia. You know, I don't know if you remember, I think some years ago, Russia actually paid Diana Taurasi to take
not to play.
Yeah. And they paid her the $1 million or whatever salary she's making there, plus her WNBA salary, just to take that time off. So I don't foresee that being a good thing, because again, like money is the issue. We don't make enough in order to say, hey, well, this is all you should be doing during this time, you know.
Now this is I'm glad you brought up the whole money aspect now, because this is something that's a little touchy. It's a little touchy subject when it comes down to women getting paid what men get paid. The WNBA getting paid compared to what the NBA gets paid. I did an interview. I interviewed 3 coaches in Georgia. 3 of the winningest women's coaches in Georgia. I had a coaches roundtable, and we were talking about salaries and stuff like that. And you know, all of them felt that the women should get paid what the men get paid. Now, me, I'm a bit of a contrarian every once in a while. But I am a huge supporter of women's of the WNBA. Hell, I got 2 season tickets to the Atlanta Dream, so that lets you know where my support lies. But I do kind of giggle. You might get mad. I giggle at when I hear the comments that say the WNBA players should be getting paid the same thing that NBA players get paid. I kind of laugh at that. How do you feel about the money in the WNBA, compared to the NBA?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna go as far as to say we should make as much money as the men make. I mean, just in all essence, we don't bring in the same revenue that the men bring. But I will say that I would love to see it grow to that level at some point, in hopes that, one day we will be there. But I know that's a process. But I do think that, there's more money to be made. I think we should make more than we're making in this present time. But I wouldn't go as far as to say that we should be matching what the men make at this point in time.
Yeah, I think that's my only way I can get kind of smart. I can be a smart aleck or be an ass when it says, oh man, it should be equal. Like, nah, I done been to too many Dream games and I done been to too many Hawk games. I understand it's a big difference.
It is.
Big difference about going to College Park, at the College Park arena.
But I would grown. It has grown.
It has grown, but my main gripe with the WNBA, I don't think the WNBA does a great job of putting the product out there and sending certain players to certain places. It's like my big gripe. Like sometimes you got to be a little territorial when you're trying to grow a league. Sending Maya Moore, I had the pleasure when I first moved to Atlanta. I called Collins Hill's game, a couple of Collins Hill games. Collins Hill games when I first moved to Atlanta, and I got to see Maya Moore in high school. And Maya Moore, I tell people all the time, Maya Moore and Ivory Latta are the 2 greatest women's players I ever seen in person. Period. They're the 2 in high school, the 2 greatest players I ever seen. But for Maya Moore to be a dominant figure in high school in the state of Georgia, and then be a dominant figure in Connecticut, it's nowhere in the world they should have drafted her to Minnesota. Something should have happened where she played for the Dream or she played for the Connecticut Sun. I don't understand why she did lead Minnesota to what, 3 WNBA titles. She did a job, but if you're trying to grow the league, you need to put her in a market where she's known. Put her someplace where she's already known.
I didn't know Georgia.
Huh?
I didn't know she was from Georgia.
Yeah, she's from our Collins Hill. She's right there in our Collins Hill. She has one of the best stat lines or record lines ever. In high school, she won 3 state championships and lost in the state championship game. In high school, she lost 3 games in her entire high school career. She went to Connecticut and won 2 out of 4 at Connecticut. And I think she only lost like 4 games in Connecticut. So for like 8 years, she only lost 8 games in 8 years.
That's a great stat line.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat line. But yeah, that's my little pet peeve when it comes to the WNBA is kind of how they market everything. Sometimes you gotta stack the deck to win.
Right.
I'm gonna be just me being greedy. I would have loved to see Asia Wilson in Atlanta. Ain't no need to send her to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? That's me being greedy. But
me being greedy, South Carolina need to get their own dang team and something.
Yeah, it's like I don't, Charlotte, when they had the Steam, Charlotte was a real. I thought they were a successful team. I thought
Charlotte. I like Charlotte.
It really surprised me.
I'm gonna send you to Minnesota.
That they didn't work out, and that's another thing with the I tell people all the time, the WNBA, they do have the most talent in one place, And the reason I say this because it's only 12 teams or 14 teams. So you have the best players in the world fighting for 12 roster spots on 12 teams. You know, it's 144 players in the WNBA who make a roster in the WNBA. So you have the most talent in one place, and that way you end up having some really, really, really good women who end up getting cut, who don't make a team, like Taya Cooper out in LA. She's a great player, but she's not good enough to make.
Well, now let's not say she's a great
Well,
player.
she's a great
Above
marker.
average. She's easily to market,
But
but she's not a great player in my opinion. She's above average.
well,
But
I'm a bit biased because I called a lot of her high school games. I'm a bit biased, but my thing is though, she got 1 million Instagram followers. That's somebody you want in the league.
yeah, she can market. I say she's easy to market and can help it, but I'm talking about on the floor only.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but
I thought she did well in her role in LA. I thought she actually made a difference on her team. Last season?
yep,
You know, yeah. I thought she was a key player for her team's success last year.
Yeah, she was. But we just throw the word great out too easily.
Yeah. I get
we don't make people earn it.
I get what you're saying. I ain't gonna argue with you on that one. I might not.
But she's great in her role. She did. I enjoyed watching her, play and come in and contribute. But yeah, man, it is though. You right though, Sly. It's a lot of competition in the WNBA.
Well,
A lot of competition.
Check this, Brian. We're getting late. You know what? Before we jump into the '90s block, Shaun, we didn't jump into anything. We didn't jump into where you are now. We talked about your journey, but we need to kind of jump into where you are now. You know, right now you're recently appointed head coach of Fairfield Central. You're out there, and I see in the background you have your I Dream Foundation. Tell us a little bit about that.
I dreamed well, and the goal was to help young female athletes by providing opportunities and experience to learn life skills through the game of basketball, and just giving back to my community and being able to motivate, inspire, and encourage our young females. That was the main goal of creating this organization. I Dreams actually stands for I am disciplined, responsible, accountable, and motivated for my own success. Really, and we've had a lot of success with our young female athletes.
I like what you do not only on the court, Shaun, but I like what y'all do in the community as well. So I've had the pleasure of being in some of the same tournaments, and you and I training and coaching together. So I like what y'all do in the community outside of basketball as well.
Thank you. It's just about empowering our youth, changing whether it's one youth, one kid at a time, or whether it's a group of kids, just making a difference in our community. One of the things I like to do, LeBron, I always say I never forget where I come from. I love the Casey, West Columbia. That's my home. So I do a lot in the community here. My family as well, not just me. There's a team. So, PCH, that's my brother.
Jay, what up, Jay? Shout out to Jay.
We also have a fall league going on at this current time. This weekend is actually the last game, the last tournament style. It ends on this weekend. So we've had great success with that. Just using our gifts to empower our youth.
Okay. Now, how can people get in touch with you if they want to donate or help or just learn more about our dreams? How can they get in touch with you?
You can follow us on social media at iDreams2012 on Twitter and Instagram. On Facebook is SC iDreams Youth. There's also a link on there where you click on the link and you can message or DM us. Also, you can go to www.idreamsyouthsc.org, check us out, and just send us a message.
Okay. Shout out to Jay Little out there. I see he out there watching. Shout out to Chance, the president.
Presidente.
Got a couple I can't name there. I'm not about to name all y'all people out there watching. But shout out to all of those who are watching. Okay. Now what else you got going on now? Now, am I wrong? Did you put out a shoe recently?
I do have a shoe. We're gonna start back marketing the shoe in a couple of months. We took some time off because we had a lot of things going on. We were focusing on our community events, but I will have that link up in a few months, probably I would say around December. And if you're interested in buying the shoe, the link will be up and it will be for sale.
Trying to get that Christmas money. You ain't slick, Shaun. Trying to steal those cash money. Man, Shaun, come on. I'm looking for a discount. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't scared to say it either, Facebook. I'm looking for a discount. I'm just teasing, Shaun. Whatever you're doing, we like to support it.
Well, I tell you
so I support it.
When y'all ready to amp that on up, make sure you send us a commercial. And we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put it on the Rip 28 podcast. We're gonna let you get
worldwide.
We're gonna let you get some of these listeners. And now this, I don't know, Brian. I can't figure this thing out, Brian.
From Zimbabwe. They might want to buy something in Zimbabwe.
I'm looking at these YouTube numbers. These YouTube numbers ain't where they need to be, but we getting all the doggone. Shaun, we recently crossed the threshold. We recently crossed the threshold, Shaun. We now have per episode, per first week episode, we have over 1,900 people listens per first week, and that they just keep the stats for the first week. Those are the stats that really matter. But on Spotify, that's where we are now. But on YouTube, we get 100.
Hey, that just means we need to start bringing some more beauty on the show.
We got faces for radio.
Yeah, we got a face for radio. We ain't cutting.
We got faces for radio. We done made the on Apple out of Apple says there are Apple says that there are 36,000 podcasts in the world, and we are in the top 500. So we gonna pat our shoulder. You know what I'm saying? We gonna brag a little bit on ourselves right there.
Shaun double down.
Yeah, we gonna pat our shoulder a little bit. So, but whenever you're ready to advertise, just let us know, man. We definitely want to put you out there because, like I say, LeBron knows you a lot better than I do, but I've definitely been a fan for a long time. A fan of you, Shaun, watching you play. We getting close to that time, Brian. We're gonna have to take a stroll, man. We're gonna take a stroll. A stroll down the 90s block. And what we do for everybody out there in the 90s block, we sit up and we try to talk about something that went on during the 90s. And since we have a WNBA star, we're going to talk about who our 90s block now. We're going to talk about our favorite WNBA players. You got to choose one. We're going to say, these are the three you have. These are the three choices you have, Shaun. Dawn Staley, Lisa Leslie, or Cheryl Swoops?
Now that's tough.
Hey, this
It's
ain't easy.
supposed to be.
This
It's
ain't
supposed to be,
easy.
Keita.
It
Keita,
ain't
it's supposed to be.
I'm gonna have to go with the home team. I got Dawn.
You got Don. You got Don. Okay. What about you, Bron?
You know what? Dawn's. I'm about to go with Dawn too because Dawn was my first basketball crush when she was playing at Virginia, and then when she played on that Martin episode, it sealed the deal. So it was Martin that brought me and Dawn together.
I got you. Hey, my heart, my head tells me that I need to stick with the home team. My head says I need to stick with the home team, but my heart has to say Cheryl Swoops. Well, I love her when Cheryl Swoops played. I was the biggest Cheryl Swoops fan, man. She was the first one to have a shoe. Speaking of shoes, she had her own Nike. I was a Cheryl Swoops fan, so I know I can't cross over the Savannah River. I can't ride I-20 and cross over the Savannah River for a little while.
Bet not. You bet not. Take that shirt off.
I love. I had to choose one. I love all three of them though.
Yeah, love all three. I love all three, but Dawn was the first lady I really started watching dribble that ball and make them passes at Virginia and all that. So I went with Dawn, but you can't argue with either one.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't lose. You can't lose.
Oh,
Well,
no.
check this, man. This has been another great episode of the RIP 28 podcast, man. I have thoroughly enjoyed it, man. Bron, you got any parting shots you want to say before you get out of here, Bron?
Man, I want to say, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Peep the pink hat. I just want to shout out to one of my coworkers that was diagnosed with breast cancer last year. She's in remission now, doing well, but I just want to send a shout out to those that may be suffering now or that may be in remission, that, y'all are not on this fight alone. We are with you. So shout out to those that may be fighting breast cancer.
All right, man. What about you, Shaun? Any parting shots for you, Shaun?
No, I think I gave the shout outs that I needed, but I just want to say thank you guys for having me on the show. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to seeing y'all a ways down the road.
Yeah, when that shoe blow up, we want some of that money because we advertise it here in Zimbabwe.
I'm gonna need a pair of size 13s. I'm gonna need
God,
some
dog,
over
boy.
here.
I got you. Y'all gonna be the first one to receive the link.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Whoa. She said the link.
The link.
She said the link.
We gotta pay.
I'm talking about the shoe. I mean the link.
Hey, I'm thinking she gonna say, yeah, y'all will be the first one to receive y'all's on the door. Y'all will be the first one to receive the link. God. Well, we know we gotta pay, Sly, so we might as well start saving up.
Look, I haven't gotten there yet, but when I get there one day.
Got you. We gonna hold you to it. Well, check this, man. This is the RIP 28 podcast. It's a podcast where a few friends get together and we talk about a few things. Now, some of those things you might like, some of those things you might not like, but we're gonna keep on talking because it's the RIP 28 podcast. Now, before I get out of here, Bron said it is Breast Cancer Month. So check this out, ladies. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you give those self-exams. And for those who are not willing or not able to give the self-exams, me, being a man of the people, I'm here to examine your breast for you. Let me know. I will help you out because I'm a man of the people. I'm Sly Williams. We'll holler at you on the RIP 28 podcast.
I'm embarrassed for your family.
Bro, I'm here for the people.
It's for the people, not you. It's for the people.
This don't have nothing to do with me.
Nothing.
It's all about Say the Tatas, bro. It's all about Say the Tatas. That's all I care about, man.
Shout out to Jay Little in the chat. Yeah, this